Hello everybody, welcome to another OLLO Chat episode. This time we have Matteo Ruperto here with us, all the way from Italy. How are you doing, Matteo?
Hello, hi. I'm very well actually. Today I'm well, and how are you? How are you doing?
As you know, I'm very excited about having you on this show. Thank you for endorsing us in Italy. And we talked earlier about who you are and what you do. And you're a jack of all trades. You do all sorts of things from mastering, mixing, and everything. So I want to know more about you. So where did you grow up? How did you get into this business? And as I can see, you have a pretty nice studio right there.
Yes. I grew up in Rome, pretty much, and I've been working as an architect before. So I used to be an architect. I'm still an architect. I'm not dead yet. And then my whole life I played instruments. I started to play piano at 3 years old, thanks to my granddad as well, because he was an orchestra director inside of Italy. And they taught me pretty much everything about music theory and stuff. Then I moved to architecture because in my family there was this construction business happening, and they always want the kid to follow. But my passion for music was a lot bigger than that, and so I started to work in a studio before with my current associate right now. He's in the other side of the studio, and I went to Berklee College of Music for I think 3 months, because I won a scholarship there, and then I moved back to Italy and started to work in a studio for being a producer, being an assistant producer actually at first, then being a recording engineer, an assistant recording engineer with the other people that work here. And so far I've been very lucky musically because I've had so many chances to work with great people and so many chances to meet great musicians, and that's been very inspiring for me. And so now I ended up building this structure, which is a very huge structure. It's a 400 square meters studio, and we've had many artists, even from jazz, international artists. I don't know, Chihiro Yamanaka, Michael Occhipinti, Fabrizio Bosso, and Phil Gould. People coming all the time, and we're very happy to be able to work with those guys. And our main job though is to be producers, and I personally work with scoring for film and media. In Italy is a lot harder than you think it is. It's very hard actually. You get many chances to work on little projects, and you get blocked out a lot of time on the big ones. But so far it's been a great ride, and I've been working a lot more on producing, and people come over to ask for their album producing or their EP producers, and that's what we do pretty much. So we are an all-around studio facility.
Now the interesting thing, Matteo, that you've mentioned is you're an architect, right? And you've built your own studio, a huge studio.
That's pretty much it. Yes,
I mean, 400 square meters. That's a lot. So
that's a lot. Yes.
I'm starting to think about, as an architect and as an audio engineer, you had to learn a lot about acoustics, right?
Yes, I had to. It was the hardest part. I've never done anything like it.
So how did you, start laying plans for the studio, where something is going to be, what are you going to use? Because I'm sure you were not loaded with money, so you had to kind of probably do some little tricks, architecture tricks, right? So is there something you can share about this journey of building your own studio?
Of course. When I was starting to design the studio, as you asked, I had to face, first of all, the money problem and the materials that I had to use, and which was the best way to obtain the best result spending the less amounts of money. And so I had to compromise. In fact, okay, right now we're sitting in the control room, and if you turn around, pretty much we have all wood and eco fiber, I think it's called, to isolate the environment. So what I had to do to start and understand how acoustic works is pretty much I had to go back and study, because it's something that I've never done before. So what I found out is actually how the wave goes through materials, and that's something that you cannot stop, because everything produces a vibration, and so the vibration reflects to the other material, and so on. So what you can do is actually try to make the wave drop more and more and more and more and more and more until you reach an acceptable error that you can work with. And so the zero leakage of audio is pretty much impossible unless you have a lot of money, and and then you can and you can build an anechoic room. That's what you can do. So, and in a studio, it's not always a good choice, because usually you want your environment to breathe and to be alive. So, and that's why you get chosen from out of studio to work with. So what I found out is that there's a lot of solutions apart from wool rock that is like the main choice to make the sound drop. Then you have a different density cardboards that can make your sound hit different densities, of course. So it changes the value of whatever happens to a lower value, and the next material that it's going to be hitting, it's going to be a lower value again, until you get to that acceptable error I was talking about. So what I've chosen to do is use the most economic materials that I found, and then use a lot of what was left from other sites. So I used, I don't know, scaffolds, wooden stuff that you walk on for pavements. And then I used, and actually those are really cool because they're very thick, and that means they're very solid. So that in the moment you elevate yourself from the floor with fluttering pavements, you can use those as an actual pavement, and all the cables, all the wool and everything else you put underneath, it's actually well covered, and it's very cool.
Nowadays, in the modern days of audio engineering, right, the studio space are still there and are important, but a huge part of productions has moved to freelancers that probably don't have any room treatment at all. Just using close monitoring, headphones, and a laptop, right? So my question would be, right, is there any sense in investing maybe in a treated room versus maybe finding some other ways to do your job?
Well, that is a very good question. Nowadays we have this problem in which we face people working at home pretty much, and which it's not a problem. I mean, you can work from whenever. Like they invented the laptop for that reason, and what is done, what can be done, is create an environment that is controlled for you, that you can control, and that it has, that you know how it sounds. I think the main difference between someone that has worked in a studio and someone that has never worked in a studio is that he knows, or she knows, how how a room can sound. So you can recognize certain things that happen while you're not in a protected environment, let's call it like this. So you know probably what are the problems that you can face. So yeah, I will recommend to invest a small amount of money into controlling the basic of a room, because that can, because what happens is that that can help you to put to create a shield into around yourself, so you know that you can be protected somehow on whatever you're doing. And most of the productions of the pre-productions that are done are done at home, and sometimes a lot of productions are done at home or in an environment that is not a studio. And but I'm pretty much sure that the people that do those things know exactly how things are supposed to sound in a certain way. They created a palette of certain vices that their room has, or they use, I don't know, a set of speakers, headset, sorry, in case of OLLO audio, which is brilliantly made, and so that I can have a way of going around that problem. Because of course, like if you work in a corrected environment, everything is you're gonna hear things that you're not supposed to hear. You hear new things, and that's how you get a lot more precise on whatever you're doing.
You mentioned you do all sorts of things, but if you try to layer this, right? The room acoustics and audio monitoring setup and stuff like that, and the gear that everybody has, right? at a certain level. How important are these things, for the process of songwriting, for the process of editing, for the process of just arranging things, or the final mix and mastering? How does this balance out as the process of developing a song goes?
Everything is important, but nothing is important. That's the answer, actually. Everything is necessary, but nothing is necessary. I mean, you can write a song sitting on a bench on somewhere, I don't know, on the beach, but from that moment to the end of the production, there's so many steps. So songwriting is something that is a lot more free than producing a song, because of course you can have your guitar or piano, whatever instrument you play, in your hands and go and write. When that translates to recording and pre-production, again, you can have just a laptop. Even with that laptop microphone, you can go around and put down your ideas into a pre-production idea. The more you go further in the steps, the more it's going to be hard to make things sound how you want them to sound. So the balance is find yourself a place that suits you. That means if writing a song means for you to have it fully produced, that means that you have to be a certain amount of gear or corrections that will let you do that. But again, if you just want to be like a songwriter and present songs to other producers to make them produce, well, then that's the producer's problem to have that gear again. So the balance is pretty much on finding what you really want to do in that chain, because the chain is endless. The more you have, the better you want that things to sound. The more you don't have, the more you're like, you cannot go beyond a certain point,
Italian music production has a certain sound to it, a certain feel to it. It doesn't matter who does it. It's always, you can feel it's Italian. I want to know, how do you guys, let's just call you Italian producers, right? Yeah. How do you approach musicality, mixing? What are the decision-making process? What do you think about when you're producing?
Okay. We are different kinds of producers. I mean, we are both me and my associates are studied in America, so and have a different approach. So it's kind of hard for us. Let's say that. Let's put it that way. And yes, you're right. Culturally, the musicality and the choices that are made in production wise are you can listen that they come from here. Like there are certain decisions, certain like points of focus that are put in front in every country, I think. And you can approach on different levels, I think, on in anyhow. And but my idea is that I think it's just a cultural problem. Whatever they make you listen, you want to listen. So if you start to change whatever they make you listen, if you try to move that to a better place, so you start to move higher and higher, they're gonna want to listen higher levels of productions. And as a matter of fact, 80%, if not more, of the music that you listen, that I listen, that everybody else has listened, doesn't come from your own country, does it?
No, it doesn't. That's true.
So and that's my point. You follow the lead of someone else that makes them the rises the bar, and you want to do that. It's especially nowadays with the technology that we have. Probably before what you said, the fact that we had you can hear different kind of productions in different countries was a lot more evident because the technology was not there to help you to make you to give you this vast access to everything. And now that you can actually raise your bar right away. Like you can go, okay, I want to make this sound like this, and you just go and listen to something else. So I think this line of things that sound differently, unless we're talking about folkloristic music, well, then in that case, there's nothing that you can do. Is that the case? But in popular music and in different kinds of productions, even classical, you cannot hear that much of a line, I think, anymore. You can hear you can hear like who played it, how it's produced, how it is, the choices of the sound. That right now everything is influenced, so I'm not sure I can give you an answer on how we approach the Italian production. I can give you a right answer.
Let's finish this up with, what do you think about us, about OLLO Audio, about the headphones that you have? How do you use them? What's good? What's bad about them?
Okay. I think what I think about OLLO, I stumbled into you because I've been looking for a pair of headset for a long time. I've had many under my hands, and what I've noticed is that they tend to create a certain sound. They tend to go towards something. And I don't know. They put emphasis on the bass line. They did on the bass. They put emphasis on the high frequencies. They put emphasis on some to correct something that is in the headset. And so, as a reference, I did not have something that will make me understand how the things that I've done in the studio will sound outside, apart from the outside of the studio. That's what I mean. And so the minute I walk out of the studio, if I didn't have a pair of headphones that will make me understand how I did things, because of course you can have your reference with your earpods or whatever else, but that will give you a correction. That will give you already something, an EQ there. So that's not what I was looking for. And so what I think about all is that they're not supposed to give you a a certain response on a frequency. They actually give you what happens in that frequency. And that's the thing that I like the most. I found myself very happy about it. They sound amazing. And every time I try to listen to even different productions and files that I had and CDs and everything else. And sometimes I noticed that I was listening to a different thing. I noticed things that I wouldn't have listened before, and that's actually very cool. And the fact that they're made in wood is actually even better. And the fact that my studio is made in wood, I think there's a connection there, because I think that if 90% of the instruments are made in wood, there must be a reason. So it makes them sound. So why don't we make everything that is supposed to make a sound in wood? So that's my idea. And yeah, so I found myself at home when I put the OLLO on, and it was great. So thank you guys for the fantastic job you've done.
Thank you very much, Matteo. All right, we're going to wrap this up. So everybody who's watching this was Matteo Ruperto from Italy. We're going to put all the links and social media and everything so you can reach him, ask him probably any question. I'm sure Matteo will do his best to answer it. And of course, you can ask him for a quote for recording there, right?
Yes, of course. You can do that.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
You can ask him for a quote.
Until the next time, thank you for watching us. Matteo, thank you for your time, and I hope we can continue this maybe more in depth the next time we do another chat.
Thank you.
Thanks.
For sure. Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.